In the fishing community of Jamestown, Rhode Island, Norm Caswell takes his usual busload of children home from school. Caswell knows his passengers well, and he knows they're good kids. Though he does have to keep an eye on Clayton Chellis, the lighthouse keeper's 11-year-old son.
Clayton Chellis?
He was a rounder. He was, if it was something to get into, he got into it. And he could swim like a seal in the water.
One of Clayton's favorite swimming spots is among the jagged rocks surrounding the Beavertail Lighthouse where his family lives. But in this weather, Clayton's swim will have to wait for another day. At around 3 p.m., bus driver Norm Caswell carefully maneuvers his vehicle over the waterlogged roads after picking his passengers up from school. He notices that one of the children, 16-year-old Bill Chellis, is absent.
He was downtown and he was waiting for the bus to pick him up, to bring him back up to the lighthouse. And some friends went by in a car and said,
"Hey, Bill, want to go up to the lighthouse? We're going to go up and look at the sea. There's big waves up there." I said, "Sure."
With 8 children on board, Caswell heads out in the high winds and driving rain. Driver Norman Caswell reaches a narrow one-lane causeway. But the road, which usually separates 2 coves, is now overrun by water. Caswell is a quarter-mile away from his next stop, the home of Joe Matos. He is the father of 4 of the children on the bus. Matos is on the far side of the causeway, where his car has stalled in the floodwaters. He wants to make sure Norman Caswell doesn't make the same mistake.
Joe Matos was at the corner of his property and he tried to flag down Norman Caswell to let him know of the impending danger. He tried to flag him, but it was very foggy at that point. The surf was up, the wind was up.
Through the blinding rain, Caswell creeps across the washed-out road. Halfway across the causeway, his bus stalls.
You need to go sit down right now.
He and the children are now surrounded by the swirling water. Fearing they will be swept away, Caswell decides the children will be safer if they leave the bus and head for the Matos house on foot. He believes it is the only way to protect the children.
He got out of the bus. At that point, the wind was knocking him over, and he made it to the back of the bus. And he opened the door.
Hold hands! Hold hands! I want everyone to hold hands. You come out first.
Joe Matos watches from atop high ground at the end of his property.
It's okay.
As one by one, the children jump out of the bus.
Stand up.
Come on, you go!
Come on now.
Then, through the salty spray, Matos spots a towering wall of water barreling toward the causeway.
Daddy!
And his children.
Joe! Daddy!
Joseph Matos watches in horror as the violent surge pushes his children into the churning waters. He is at the edge of his property, looking down on the bus his children have fled. But he is completely helpless.
He just couldn't get there, and I'm sure he was yelling in the wind, but you couldn't hear it. And another wave came.
It's unclear exactly what's happening. What is clear is that his children are getting washed away, and it's not certain that he's ever going to be able to find them.
Of the 8 children who were on board the town school bus the day before, 7 are dead. Only bus driver Norm Caswell and 11-year-old Clayton Chellis survived the hurricane.
Clayton had been a strong swimmer, and he knew from swimming here at Beavertail that the best thing to do was not fight the water, but to swim with it, which is what he did.
That morning, nearly everyone in town gathers around the empty bus, still partially submerged in muddy water.
Because the island was so small and everyone knew everyone else, when people discovered that 7 children had died the day before, it was devastating, not just for the families, but for everybody on the island.
As days pass, one by one, the bodies of the tiny victims wash up on Jamestown's shore.